Okay, I've just put together a short video to explain the main road strategy process. It is actually way simpler than it looks on this slide, and how it can help increase profit margins in Aveng Griniker as an operating group and in the business units as individual businesses. So the idea behind the main road is you make clear choices about where do you focus your business for growth or for profitability, and you become less opportunistic about what you put into your pipeline, what you target and tender. So the drivers behind making a main road strategy are: what are the target sectors for growth or for continued presence of our business, and who are the target clients within those target sectors that we ideally as a business want to work with. So if you can see my cursor here on the left, I'm just going to show you what are the drivers behind making a decision to focus on a target sector and then the target clients within that sector. So obviously one of the questions is, what do we do well as a business unit? Where have we traditionally made money? Where do we traditionally operate well? That makes sense to focus on that type of work. What do we do well and where do we make money? The other is, where's the opportunity for us to add value or additional margin, whether it's through different contracting models, earlier contractor involvement through things like value engineering, the possibility to bring funding to the project. Where can we bring value to the process? And then who are the clients that are prepared to engage with us in a way that we can build that value proposition? Where is there an opportunity for growth? So what sectors are growing? What sectors provide opportunity? Or what sectors do we have a very low market share or are not present in currently? For example, the fit out sector in Mark's business that present an opportunity for growth and profit. The other question to ask is, where are there barriers to entry? So what sectors are there barriers to stop smaller grade contractors, the rats and mice coming in, which obviously erode margin? And more importantly as well, where are we relevant as a business? So what clients in what sectors want to work with the Griniker and are prepared to allow us bring our value proposition to that sector, to that project. So again, once you've made a decision on which are your target sectors, you then sit back and you say, okay, who are the target clients that own or drive that sector? Then you have a conversation about how do we deliver value to them? What is the value delivery model? So it can be a number of different things. Like I mentioned, it can be a willingness to operate under a different contract, whether that's lump sum turnkey, for example, in the renewable space, or design and build, or whether it's bringing funding or earlier contractor involvement, working with developers and helping them assess project feasibility and working at risk, but with the upside that you can negotiate the contract, or through value engineering. The list is really endless, but it's clear once you look at a sector, you can refine and develop that value proposition, and then identify the clients that are prepared to work with you and to that are willing to engage on that value proposition. So once you've got a clear understanding of what your main road target sectors and clients are and where will you deliver value to it, you then develop a business development strategy, and ideally you target the top customers in that sector and stakeholders. So the 80-20 principle will apply. It doesn't matter what sector you're looking at, whether it's water treatment or whether it's road infrastructure. There are going to be a small number of drivers or companies that drive that sector, whether it's the clients, the consultants that support, or other stakeholders, and you develop a business development and stakeholder management strategy around it. So ideally you're looking to put 80% of the opportunities that go into your pipeline from leads and opportunities that fit your main road strategy. The idea behind it being, if you're targeting as part of that main road strategy customers who are the key drivers of that sector, by the law of probability, you're more likely to get repeat work, consistent work, which means if you can deliver your value proposition, you're more likely to be profitable, not just in the short term, but sustainably into the future. So you're doing work for the same clients over and over again in sectors that you operate well, where you can build in a value proposition and carry additional margin. So in order to make this happen, once you've identified who your target sectors are, and who the target clients are, then you look at how do you position yourself as a leader in that sector. So one way is through strategic business development and stakeholder management. So at BU level, we would be hoping that the MDs would be visiting these key clients at least once a quarter, and at OG level that you would be engaging with them at least once a year. And then obviously we look at what strategic marketing would we need. So for example, in Mark's case, again, if he were to enter into the fit out, putting fit out brochures together, putting a section for fit out on his website and getting out and marketing that service to clients. So once we've engaged in that business development process, the idea behind it is you start filling your pipeline, and you have a pipeline management process where you're ideally putting in only opportunities, or the majority of opportunities, into that pipeline which meet your main road filter, and I'll show you that in a second. So the idea behind it is you carry out market research, or through strategic business development, you are generally only putting opportunities into your pipeline which are on strategy, and that is they meet your main road. And actually the main road operates as a filter or a checklist where you ask yourself, when something's going in, does this meet our strategy? If it does, and particularly if it's an opportunity for one of the identified top clients in that sector, you give it every level of priority, and at an OG and a BU level, you're making sure that you're driving and actually executing that value proposition down, so that you're delivering what you said you're going to deliver to that client, and ultimately winning more work that's profitable and you're likely to execute well. If something comes along, as it always does in construction, which is attractive and it's off strategy, so a good example would be the Sandwell bridges at the moment. The idea behind it is, before it goes into the pipeline, you have a discussion around it and you ask yourself some critical questions. Do you have the skills, the resources, the right partners, etc., in order to be able to properly qualify, tender or execute that project? And you make a plan, and ideally these are the exception rather than the norm, because they cause a lot of noise in the system, and ultimately it's more risky as to whether you will or won't make profit on that project. So just one final example, how would this look in practice? So obviously within the Aveng Water business, we've targeted the water sector, so that's a main road sector for us. A main road client would be TCTA. We want to get closer and we want to do more work in a more profitable way with TCTA. So then the question would be, how could we possibly add value? And this is hypothetical, but the value proposition could be, we're prepared to work on an EPC basis and we can bring funding from commercial banks or from Europe through our partners. So then we engage in strategic business development, where we engage with TCTA and we communicate this value proposition to them. And we also communicate what our overall partnering strategy in terms of black empowerment or other skills that we might lack, in a way that communicates that we can deliver value to TCTA. Our value proposition is going to be compelling at a business development level, which means it's going to start opening up opportunities, leads and opportunities, which then go into our pipeline. Once an opportunity passes tender stage, at OG level, we're challenging the business that they're truly executing what they've communicated in terms of a value proposition based on either the contracting model, the ability to bring finance, that we're not just one of many tendering this project. And this is just a specific example. Obviously it would vary business unit to business unit and client to client, but the idea behind it is, eventually the majority of the opportunities in Aveng Water would be main road opportunities which are on strategy, which talk to the key clients, which talk to our value proposition, which means the probability of us winning that work and making a profit is much higher. And this is the process that I think each business unit could use in order to identify, how is it going to return itself to profitability? Well, it's going to return itself to profitability by doing work in sectors where it carries a value proposition which allows it make more money and deliver value back to clients. And that's it.